Plan Commission reviewed and recommended approval of the combined preliminary and final plat for Arbor Haven 3 subdivision. It's about a 22 lot subdivision, north of Arbor Haven Way, which is north of Pleasant Drive in the old Tree Acres area. So that will go through, tomorrow at Village Board, they'll consider it for final approval. I think they are hoping, best case scenario is probably a fall 19, but we're probably looking at a spring 2020 project.
Okay.
So, Classic Development's doing it. They're the same folks that did Arbor Haven and Arbor Haven 2.
Okay.
The big news last night was the two 20-unit townhouse development that SC Swiderski submitted to the village. So that went through Planning Commission, received very well by the Planning Commission, and was actually approved with some conditions that are more nuanced towards municipal government that really don't make a big impact to the average citizen. So, but yeah, that project, I know they submitted it to state, and they're looking hopefully to break ground yet this fall. But that would be another 40 units added to the village's apartment portfolio. The Wisconsin Department of Administration every year submits to each municipality population estimates. This is outside of the U.S. Census stuff. This is state level and is probably a little bit more accurate than like the U.S. Census would be.
Okay.
But more or less, they look at things like driver's licenses issued, voter registration rolls, then village staff. We also look at like our building permits. We take an average, in each apartment. Is there 2 people who live in each apartment? Is it 1 1/4? That kind of a thing. And so internally, we had projected our 2019 population somewhere between about 13,200 and 13,250. Actually came back, the DOA, the Department of Administration, had our population estimates at 13,298. And so, obviously a net increase, about 480 residents from 2018, which isn't all that surprising considering the multifamily development that we've had and the residential development within the village. So, it was nice to know that our projections or our estimates internally were pretty spot on, as the same as the DOA. So, but if you think about our 2010 census, we were 12,123 persons. 2020 will probably be closer to that 13,400, 13,500. So last week, equalized values for our TIF districts came out.
Okay.
The village had a 21% in equalized value from more or less 2017 to 2018, so very good numbers. TIF number 5, which is the old Tree Acres near the Smiley's Bar and Grill, saw our most. We had a 102% increase in our equalized value between 17 and 18. So give or take, that's about $10 million in new development out there. And again, that goes back to the residential and apartment buildings that have been going up in that area. So. Very good. Other big increases, TIF number 3, which is the Pines Corporate Center. We saw some building additions and storage buildings go up out there, so that helped with that. And then TIF number 6, the southern half of the Heritage Farm Estates came on, and so we saw another increase there. So, in general, a 21% increase within our TIFs alone. And new equalized value is really good for the village. It helps service debts within those TIF districts, and helps continue to make the village a sustainable place, which is really important for us. So, because of the net new construction and the increase in equalized value in TIF number 5, that TIF is finally able to start servicing its own debts. TIF 3 and TIF 4, Village, Park and Plover, and Pines Corporate Center, have been assisting TIF 5's debts, and so to see that increase and to see that those debts are being serviced within the TIF and the development within the TIF is really good for the village. It means that we can start considering closing out other TIFs early, and what that'll offer is additional revenue from these TIFs to go back to all the taxing jurisdictions, the village, the school district, the county, and then the technical college. We would expect that when TIF 3 closes, for the village alone, we would see about $500,000 in new um, spendable dollars that we can utilize for hiring police officers or firefighters or more people in community development. So that's from a municipal standpoint, when you are limited in your revenues and limited in your expenditures, closing out TIFs is a really important key, especially if they're successful TIFs. So.